everybody. What's up?
Nastassja Kinski is a German actress and former model, best known for her captivating screen presence and unique blend of ethereal beauty and emotional intensity. Born on January 24, 1961. In West Berlin, Germany, she is the daughter of the legendary, yet controversial, actor Klaus Kinski. Despite a turbulent childhood, she carved out a career distinct from her father's. Earning acclaim in both European and American cinema, Kinski rose to international fame with her role in Tess, 1979, directed by Roman Polanski. Her performance as the tragic heroine Tess Durbeyfield earned her a Golden Globe Award and cemented her as a rising star. That role also marked the beginning of her reputation for taking on emotionally complex, often vulnerable characters. Throughout the 1980s, she starred in a mix of arthouse and mainstream films, including Cat People, 1982, Paris, Texas, 1984, and One from the Heart, 1981. Paris, Texas, directed by Wim Wenders and written by Sam Shepard, is particularly notable. It won the Palme d'Or at Cannes and is widely considered a masterpiece of modern cinema. Kinski's portrayal of Jane, a woman caught between freedom and familial love, is hauntingly restrained and deeply affecting. Kinski was also known for her collaboration with acclaimed photographers. One of the most iconic images of her was taken by Richard Avedon in 1981, a sensual, surreal photo of her nude with a large python curled around her body, which became a pop culture phenomenon. Her personal life has been as intriguing as her film roles, often marked by intense relationships and a determination to remain independent from the Hollywood system. Though her presence in major films waned after the 1990s, she has remained active in international cinema and continues to have a devoted fanbase. Early life and background. Kinski was born Nastassja Kinski. Her childhood was difficult. Her parents divorced when she was young, and she was raised mostly by her mother in relative poverty. Her father, Klaus Kinski, was a volatile and intense actor known for his work with director Werner Herzog, but also for his abusive behavior. Nastassja later revealed that she was estranged from him for most of her life and has spoken candidly about the trauma she experienced growing up. Despite this, she began modeling and acting as a teenager. Her first major role was in the German film The Wrong Move, 1975, directed by Wim Wenders, who would later direct her in Paris, Texas. She was only 13 or 14 at the time, and her performance caught the attention of filmmakers both in Europe and abroad. Breakthrough with Tess. Roman Polanski cast Kinski in Tess after being impressed by her screen presence. To prepare for the role, she reportedly lived in the countryside for several months to get into character. The film is a lush, tragic adaptation of Thomas Hardy's Tess of the D'Urbervilles, and her performance earned her critical acclaim. At only 18, she was being compared to the likes of Audrey Hepburn and Ingrid Bergman. 1980s, international stardom in the 80s. Kinski's filmography was a blend of European art cinema and stylized American productions. She had a haunting vulnerability that lent itself to complex roles, often playing women trapped between innocence and danger. Highlights: Cat People, 1982, a cult favorite, part horror, part erotic fantasy. It solidified her as a sensual, mysterious screen figure. One from the Heart, 1981, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, the film was a commercial failure but visually stunning. Paris, Texas, 1984, possibly her most iconic role. Even though she doesn't appear until late in the film, her quiet, emotionally raw performance as Jane left a lasting impression. The scene in the peep show booth is still considered one of the most powerful in modern cinema. Later work and life. By the 1990s, her star dimmed somewhat in the mainstream. But she continued to work steadily in international cinema. Her choices became more eclectic, often opting for roles in European productions, TV films, or indie projects. She's also been deeply involved in humanitarian causes, including supporting children's charities and animal rights initiatives. Personal life: Kinski has had relationships with several high-profile men, including Roman Polanski, musician Quincy Jones, with whom she shares a daughter, Kenya Kinski Jones, and actor Vincent Spano. Despite her fame, she's always maintained a relatively private, almost elusive public persona. In interviews, she often speaks about the emotional weight she carries from her past, her love of nature and solitude, and her desire to live authentically rather than chase fame. There's a poetic, slightly bohemian quality to her, even off-screen. The Avedon photograph, icon of the 80s. In 1981, Kinski posed for what became one of the most famous fashion photographs of the 20th century, shot by Richard Avedon. Titled Nastassja Kinski and the Serpent, it features her nude, lying on her side, with a massive python coiled around her. The image is sensual, surreal, and arresting, not pornography, not fashion, but something else entirely. It came to represent the mysterious, slightly dangerous allure that Kinski carried in her screen roles, beauty edged with something primal. She later said she didn't think the photo would become such a phenomenon, and that she just loved animals, including snakes. Classic Kinski move. Globe fluent in film cultures, Kinski worked in German, French, Italian, and English language cinema with ease, which was rare even among international stars. She collaborated with a range of auteurs: Roman Polanski, Tess, Wim Wenders, Paris, Texas, Far Away, So Close, Paul Schrader, Cat People, Andrei Konchalovsky, Maria's Lovers. Her ability to slip between arthouse drama and genre films made her hard to pin down. One year she could be in a fantasy horror movie, the next in a European war drama or spiritual romance. She once said, "I never wanted to be in the spotlight. I only wanted to disappear into the story." Face mask method without the hype. Kinski was often compared to Brigitte Bardot or Nastassja from Russian folklore, ethereal but unknowable. But she wasn't just a symbol of beauty. She brought emotional truth to her characters, often without saying much. Her silences were loaded. Directors and co-stars praised her ability to feel scenes rather than overthink them. She could communicate heartbreak or longing with a glance. Her method was intuitive, sometimes chaotic, but it worked. And she hated celebrity. She once said being famous felt like having your skin ripped off. Candle a wounded romantic. Her personal life has often mirrored her films. Love, loss, escape, reinvention. She's had long periods of retreat from public life, living quietly, raising her children, traveling, or disappearing into creative projects. Her relationship with Quincy Jones was loving but unconventional. Their daughter, Kenya Kinski Jones, is now a successful model, carrying on that mix of legacy and elegance. Kinski's heartbreaks, including her fraught relationship with her father, cast a long shadow. She's spoken about abuse and survival, and how acting helped her process what she couldn't speak about. There's a softness to her, but also steel. Clapperboard. Later years in legacy. Kinski's screen appearances slowed down in the 2000s, though she occasionally re-emerges in smaller films or European projects. Her legacy, however, continues to inspire. Chloe Sevigny and Natasha Lyonne have both cited her as an influence. Directors like David Lynch and Sofia Coppola have drawn comparisons between her characters and the dreamy, lost women in their films. Her early performances are studied in film schools for their subtlety and instinctive depth. In a world of noise and oversharing, Kinski has always remained a quiet enigma. She's never been easily summarized, and maybe that's the point. The Klaus Kinski shadow. We can't fully understand Nastassja without touching on her relationship with her father, Klaus Kinski. He was infamous for his brilliance on screen and monstrous behavior off it. In her 2009 interview with Stern, Nastassja confirmed long-standing rumors of abuse, saying he was a tyrant and that she had to protect herself constantly as a child. She cut off ties with him at a young age and never reconciled. When he died in 1991, she didn't attend the funeral. And although she rarely spoke publicly about the details, she carried the emotional weight of that trauma in her work, especially in roles that explored themes of alienation, powerlessness, and lost innocence. Her courage in creating her own identity, separate from his, is something quietly heroic. Milky Way, Paris, Texas. A masterclass in less is more. Let's circle back to what is arguably her greatest performance, Jane in Paris, Texas. Even though she doesn't appear until more than an hour into the film, her impact is seismic. That scene, behind the one-way mirror in the peep show booth, is one of the most emotionally charged in cinema history. She can't see Harry Dean Stanton's character, but he can see her. What follows is a slow, devastating unraveling of their shared history, told almost entirely through her listening. The trembling in her voice, her eyes watering, the way she leans closer, as if trying to bridge a chasm of time and heartbreak. That's the thing about Nastassja Kinski. She acts with her soul, not her face. Wim Wenders called her a poet in front of the camera. Movie camera underrated or forgotten films. If you really want to go down the rabbit hole, here are a few lesser-known gems and oddities. Stay As You Are, 1978, a romantic drama with Marcello Mastroianni, made when she was still a teenager. Controversial, sensual, and strange. The Moon in the Gutter, 1983, visually lush, with Gérard Depardieu. Critics were divided, but it's full of symbolic, dreamlike imagery, classic early 80s European excess. Maria's Lovers, 1984, a quietly tragic post-war love story. Directed by Andrei Konchalovsky, she plays a woman trying to connect with a man broken by war. Her role is subtle but piercing. Far Away, So Close, 1993, sequel to Wings of Desire. Also by Wim Wenders. Kinski plays an angelic figure again, blurring the line between human and divine, pain and transcendence. Mike Public persona. Elusive by design, Kinski has always refused to play the Hollywood fame game. She's given very few interviews, and even those are often cryptic or dreamlike. She'll talk about love or nature or animals, but not gossip, not superficialities. She once told Interview magazine, "When I walk down the street, I'm not an actress. I'm not a star. I'm just a person who wants to see the sky and feel the earth." That's very her. Mystical, rooted, a bit feral. She loves animals, dogs especially, and has described living on farms or in the countryside where she can be close to nature. She's said she's happiest barefoot, away from cameras, with her children or alone. Candle cultural afterlife. Though she's no longer in the mainstream, her influence is everywhere. Fashion editorials often echo that soft yet feral Kinski look. The modern dream girl archetype owes a lot to her. Mysterious, wounded, impossible to pin down. Directors like Luca Guadagnino, Andrea Arnold, and Jane Campion seem spiritually aligned with her kind of storytelling, emotion over plot, texture over exposition. And honestly, she deserves a full revival. A retrospective, a memoir, a limited series with her as a haunting matriarch in the Alps. Something that lets the world rediscover what a quiet revolutionary she really was.
Nastassja Kinski là một nữ diễn viên và cựu người mẫu người Đức nổi tiếng nhất với sự hiện diện quyến rũ trên màn ảnh và sự kết hợp độc đáo giữa vẻ đẹp thanh thoát và cường độ cảm xúc. Sinh ngày 24 tháng 1 năm 1961 tại Tây Berlin, Đức, cô là con gái của nam diễn viên huyền thoại nhưng gây nhiều tranh cãi Klaus Kinski. Mặc dù có tuổi thơ đầy biến động, cô đã tạo dựng được sự nghiệp riêng biệt với cha mình, giành được sự hoan nghênh của trong nền điện ảnh châu Âu và Mỹ. Kinski nổi tiếng quốc tế với vai diễn trong Tess năm 1979 do Roman Polanski đạo diễn, vai diễn nữ anh hùng bi kịch. Tess Durbeyfield đã mang về cho cô giải quả cầu vàng và củng cố vị thế ngôi sao đang lên của cô. Vai diễn đó cũng đánh dấu sự khởi đầu cho danh tiếng của cô khi đảm nhận những nhân vật phức tạp về mặt cảm xúc, thường dễ bị tổn thương. Trong suốt những năm 1980, cô đóng vai chính trong nhiều bộ phim nghệ thuật và phim chính thống, bao gồm Cat People năm 1982, Paris, Texas năm 1984, One from the Heart năm 1981. Paris, Texas do Wim Wenders đạo diễn và Sam Shepard viết kịch bản. Đặc biệt đáng chú ý, phim đã giành giải cành cọ vàng tại Liên hoan phim Cannes và được coi rộng rãi là kiệt tác của điện ảnh hiện đại. Vai diễn Jane của Kinski, một người phụ nữ mắc kẹt giữa tự do và tình yêu gia đình, được kiềm chế một cách ám ảnh và gây xúc động sâu sắc. Kinski cũng được biết đến với sự kết hợp tác của cô với nhiếp ảnh gia nổi tiếng. Một trong những hình ảnh mang tính biểu tượng nhất của cô được chụp bởi Richard Avedon vào năm 1981, một bức ảnh siêu thực gợi cảm về cảnh cô khỏa thân với một con chăn lớn cuộn tròn quanh cơ thể, đã trở thành một hiện tượng văn hóa đại chúng. Cuộc sống cá nhân của cô cũng hấp dẫn như các vai diễn trong phim của cô, thường được đánh dấu bằng những mối quan hệ sâu sắc và quyết tâm duy trì sự độc lập khỏi hệ thống Hollywood. Mặc dù sự hiện diện của cô trong các bộ phim lớn đã giảm dần sau những năm 1990, cô vẫn hoạt động tích cực trong nền điện ảnh quốc tế và vẫn có một lượng người hâm mộ trung thành. Cuộc sống ban đầu và bối cảnh. Kinski tên khai sinh là Nastassja Kinski. Tuổi thơ của cô rất khó khăn. Cha mẹ cô ly hôn khi cô còn nhỏ và cô chủ yếu được mẹ nuôi dưỡng trong cảnh nghèo đói. Cha cô, Klaus Kinski, là một diễn viên thất thường và dữ dội, nổi tiếng với những tác phẩm hợp tác với đạo diễn Werner Herzog, nhưng cũng vì hành vi ngược đãi của ông. Nastassja sau đó tiết lộ rằng cô đã xa lánh ông trong phần lớn cuộc đời và đã nói thẳng thắn về chấn thương mà cô đã trải qua khi lớn lên. Mặc dù vậy, cô bắt đầu làm người mẫu và diễn xuất khi còn là một thiếu niên. Vai chính đầu tiên của cô là trong bộ phim Đức The Wrong Movie năm 1975 do Wim Wenders đạo diễn, người sau này sẽ đạo diễn cô tại Paris, Texas. Khi đó cô mới 13-14 tuổi và diễn viên và diễn xuất của cô đã thu hút sự chú ý của các nhà làm phim ở cả châu Á và châu Âu và nước ngoài. Đột phá với Tess, Roman Polanski đã chọn Kinski vào vai trong Tess sau khi ấn tượng với sự hiện diện của cô trên màn ảnh. Để chuẩn bị cho vai diễn, cô được cho là đã sống ở vùng nông thôn trong vài tháng để nhập vai. Bộ phim là một bản chuyển thể bi thảm, tươi tốt của Tess of the Uberville của Thomas Hardy, và diễn xuất của cô đã nhận được sự hoan nghênh của giới phê bình. Mới chỉ 18 tuổi, cô đã được so sánh với những người như Audrey Hepburn, Ingrid Bergman. Bye bye, thanks for watching, bye bye.